But Gary, let's start with the team news for Manchester United. A big game for Erik ten Hag at the home of football at Wembley, the semi-final against Coventry. Only one fit centre-back, Harry Maguire. We're not quite sure, potentially Casemiro to play at centre-back. How much of a blow will that be?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one position, along with left-back, the two positions that have been a real problem for Manchester United in the last few weeks. They've got all their other players fit in the other positions, but those two having a nightmare with, and yeah, it gives Coventry more of a chance than maybe they had because, you know, Casemiro, I mean, he's experienced, that's the one thing he is. He's played there before, but there's a lack of pace at the heart of that defence, and it will be a worry.
Obviously, we've seen some comments, some interesting comments from Erik ten Hag about only having his best 11 to select once in the last 18 months. What do you make to that?
Well, one, it's true, but I think that a lot of clubs in the last 12 months have had really bad injuries. I think this season seems to have been the worst I've ever known for clubs having poor records, not keeping players on the pitch. You think about Liverpool, you think about other clubs as well, Tottenham. They're all in the same position, and there's no doubt that that has a factor on United's performances, but it still doesn't explain the lows that they've hit in certain games. And I wouldn't want that to creep into the dressing room, that idea of a sort of excuse mentality. So, no, there's no doubt keeping your players fit on the pitch is down to good recruitment. It's down to making sure that you do the right things on the training pitch so that players don't get injured. Sometimes it's down to bad luck and you can't do anything about it. But it's more than that, I would say, at United, because you know they keep getting so many injuries. Then what's going wrong? What is it that's causing these injuries? You have to start looking internally as well, I would imagine. Obviously,
it's a huge game at Wembley in the semi-final, and for Manchester United, the very least they'd expect is to get to the final and win silverware. That's what that football club has done for many, many years. How defining could this game be for Erik ten Hag and potentially this FA Cup run, should they get to the final for next season?
Well, it's huge. I mean, you talk about not winning today. I mean, if you don't win today, that's going to be a problem for any Manchester United manager in any season. Losing to Coventry in the FA Cup, so that can't even be thought about. I think that if Manchester United were to get to a final, they're going to have the work cut out because they're going to be playing against Manchester City. I suspect there were a lot of Manchester United players watching that game last night and coaches thinking that Chelsea played really well in the game. I thought they were fantastic and that they should have taken one of those chances, and that maybe you've got more of a chance against Chelsea than Manchester City. But if Erik ten Hag was to win a trophy this season, to win 2 trophies in your first 2 seasons would be, I think, is a really good start as a Manchester United manager. But they can't go out today.
Manchester United make contact with Thomas Tuchel to replace Erik ten Hag. Manchester United part owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe has contacted former Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel regarding the managerial position at Old Trafford, according to Kicker. While Tuchel is currently focused on Bayern Munich, Ratcliffe has reportedly gauged his interest in taking charge of the Red Devils. Tuchel has been ousted at Bayern Munich after collapsing in the Bundesliga title race, allowing Bayer Leverkusen to claim their first Meisterschale. The 50-year-old will leave the Rekordmeister at the end of the season and could find a landing spot in England where his reputation is still intact. Despite Bayern's struggles, Tuchel's reputation as a top manager remains unblemished. Tuchel led Chelsea to their second Champions League title after taking over mid-season in the campaign. He also led them to the FA Cup final in his debut campaign in English football, which they lost to Leicester City. The former Borussia Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain boss claimed the Club World Cup and UEFA Super Cup the following season and reached the finals of both domestic cups. Tuchel is an experienced customer and one of the best managers in Europe. His style is perfectly suited to cup competitions, and Ratcliffe is reportedly an admirer. However, the report suggests that Ratcliffe, who ran the London Marathon before watching United scrape through against Coventry City in the FA Cup yesterday, has not yet made the final decision regarding Erik ten Hag. The Dutchman set up an FA Cup final date with Manchester City and could claim another trophy after a tumultuous second season in charge of the Reds. Ten Hag has dealt with several injuries to key players, making it difficult for the former Ajax boss to field his best starting 11 consistently. A win over City on May 25th could solidify his position and buy him more time, or United may potentially turn to Tuchel to lead the team. Manchester United should rest Willy Cambuala for rest of the season after injury blow. Manchester United should rest Willy Cambuala for the rest of the season after his injury in the lead-up to the FA Cup semi-final against Coventry City. The 19-year-old has been a regular part of the matchday squad during the second half of the campaign following injuries to multiple central defenders. Kambuala had a solid debut against West Ham United in December, and he recently started alongside Harry Maguire in back-to-back league games. While he was relatively good against Liverpool at Old Trafford, the youngster had a game to forget at Bournemouth, conceding a goal after a costly slip. Manager Erik ten Hag defended Kambuala after the Cherries draw, but the youngster is now on the sidelines after picking up an undefined injury. In our opinion, the club should handle the youngster with extra caution, and he should be rested for the remainder of the campaign before reporting for pre-season. The teenager is obviously not used to the higher intensity and hectic schedule of senior football. This has probably contributed to his unfortunate injury setback. We believe Kambuala should be allowed to strengthen and make a full recovery for next season rather than risking a fresh injury with a quick return to action. Casemiro played alongside Harry Maguire at the heart of the defense against Coventry, but Ten Hag will be hoping for some good news over the coming games. Johnny Evans looks the most likely to return to training this month. Rafael Varane, Lisandro Martinez and Victor Lindelof may not be available until the back end of May. United still have plenty to play for. They have 6 more league games in the top flight and need as many points as possible to qualify for European football next season. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's reaction caught on camera during laborious Manchester United FA Cup victory over Coventry City does not look good for Erik ten Hag. Manchester United will be playing Manchester City in the final of the FA Cup for the second season running, but not many were impressed with how they booked their place after Coventry City came from down to force the semi-final clash into extra time at Wembley Stadium on Sunday. The Championship club scored thrice in the last 19 minutes of the game, had a goal in the 121st minute, rightly chalked off for offside thanks to VAR before losing on penalties, and it is safe to say Red Devils co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe was not delighted with what he saw. The 71-year-old completed the London Marathon on Sunday morning and was at Wembley in time to witness the second-half capitulation from Man United, and one of his reactions caught on camera during the game speaks volumes. Manager Erik ten Hag has been far from convincing all season, and yesterday's performance and his substitution choices have not done his chances of retaining the job any good. Ratcliffe was clearly not pleased with what he saw from Man United, and while the performance further underlines the huge squad rebuilding task ahead of the British billionaire, he would also be wondering whether Ten Hag really has what it takes to take the club to the next level. The Red Devils have reportedly made contact with outgoing Bayern Munich manager Thomas Tuchel as they eye a replacement for their Dutch manager. And while the authenticity of that claim cannot be verified, there is no doubt that the former Ajax boss has not lived up to the expectations. There are no guarantees anything will change even if Man United end up recruiting better players this summer, and not many would be surprised if Ratcliffe decides to part ways with Ten Hag at the end of such an underwhelming season.